Hello students, it's Dr. Newmark here. I'm recording a video for you specifically about the reflective memo portion of your final portfolio. So right here on the screen I have, and I'll go back out here for a minute. Here's our landing page for our course, and here's the portfolio. Once you get into the portfolio, let me put this in student view so it looks like you see it. Sorry about that. Once you're there, you'll see here our summaries for what's coming up in the coming weeks, but the final portfolio prompt is what you want to look at. It tells you exactly what you need to do. It's got some weird spacing and amendment issues because I changed it from the previous semester, so you guys had to do less. But this is the item that we're concerned about right here, number 4, the reflective memo, 500 words long. Now, in this basically 2-page memorandum, you need to use proper memorandum format, and you need to speak to your learning regarding the 9 outcomes in our course relative to the 3 assignments that we did. So you've been practicing talking about that learning all semester long relative to the major projects when you've been writing your slow reflections, which go in the sidebar menu areas on your Google site. In this memo, you're basically synthesizing all of that information into a single document. I need you to emphasize, in particular, slows 2 and 9. The slows are on the overview of, actually on the portfolio page. So 2, project analysis, and 9, production and delivery. So those are the ones that you definitely need to emphasize, but you should feel perfectly welcome to and comfortable with speaking to more than the 2 out of 9, as many as you think that you can productively do. The main goal here is to give me evidence of your learning of those slows with examples drawn from your own work. And I'm going to show you some examples coming up. In red here, you'll see that we want you to speak to your learning with the ultimate goal of proving that this learning helped to prepare you for 21st century workplaces. And so you need to do a metacognitive, it's called metacognitive reflection, where you're thinking about your learning in this class, but you're attaching it to learning in other contexts. So you could talk about that relative to classes that you're in other departments or other English classes, and then attach that to what you project to be your future workplace scenario. Okay, so in the prompt, I talk about the portfolio reflection here in item 4, and then it's touched upon down here again. It's just sort of re-emphasizing that information. Okay, so I want to show you a couple of things here. My former student, Catalina Hernandez, told me that I could use her portfolio as an example, and you might recognize this because I used it in the final portfolio video. Now, this is her final reflection. So if you go to her homepage of her portfolio, the reflection is linked at the bottom there. And she has it pulled up on the screen, and she has it downloadable as a PDF. You'll see that she has created a document that is very recognizable as a memo. It has a header, she's got an opening overview, and then she talks about the 3 projects. She's missing a concluding section. It would be really nice to have that, but she's bolded the slows that she's talking about so that it's unmistakable to me that she's talking about those. Now, this particular class that she was in was slightly different from yours because it was a face-to-face class, and they were working directly with community partner organizations, so that's what she's talking about here. In this second paragraph, you had a different project too. But anyway, this is just an example of how one student did this, and so I wanted to show it to you to give you a vision of what you need to end up producing. But you can see, she talks about the things that she did. In her instructions video, she taught viewers how to make tissue paper flowers. She used the organizational design slow by conducting research. She could definitely build this out and provide more examples of how she achieved learning in those areas. The last thing I want to show you is I created a final reflection myself, and I'm going to share this with you here. And it's just an example of a very rough start that I made to writing one of these up myself. I provided some little comments here on the side, But you'll see I start off by saying, in English 219, I learned many skills, and of course I'm pretending to be a student. I learned many skills that will help me to become a strong technical writer. Technical writing requires communicators to be blank, blank, and blank. You have to come up with what you want to say. User-oriented, clear, organized in terms of their communication, whatever you'd want to put there. And to be aware of audience needs and the overall purpose of a document or piece of multimodal communication. Such awareness of audience and purpose is so important in 21st century workplace contexts, such as in real estate investment, which is the field I hope to enter after I graduate. So I just made that up. I was just trying to provide a scenario that would be sort of like a student scenario. And then you'll see I highlighted here that I give an example from a different class in a different department, how these skills cross different realms of study, thereby proving their importance and transferability. So the student learning outcomes I start talking about here, and then I stop. I also learned a lot about ... And then I say, here's where you would add paragraphs similar to the above, but about the other slows, highlighting not just 2, as I've done above, but slow 9, and any others that are relevant. I could improve this in a lot of ways. Yes, so I'm just showing you that this was my starting draft. What's yours going to look like? I'm really excited to see how they come together in your final portfolio. Again, if you look at Katarina's, you'll see that hers is an improvement even on mine, right? Hers has internal sections that are clearly identified with text emphasis. She uses text emphasis bolding to call out the slows. She definitely did a lot more editing on hers to get to the final draft than I did on mine, which is really rough here. But I wanted to show you what it looks like when it's rough and what it looks like when it's in a more pulled together format. Again, all of this is mentioned in the portfolio assignment, and I hope that, oh, here it is on your site, and I hope that this has been helpful to understand what you need to do in your final portfolio when it comes time to do that reflective memo, again, which is going to be linked on the main page of your Google site. All right, so let me know if you have any questions.